and let it go. So voila, this is it.
Lovely.
Skillet Tuscan chicken. Welcome. Good morning, I'm Fiona Hatfield. I'm a real estate agent. And I have been for 35 years. And every year I've sent out recipe calendars. So my mission this year is to make a recipe and cook it with you and go over all the ingredients. A teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of pepper, and I'm gonna mix all those ingredients up with oregano, press into the breasts of chicken. Now the breasts of chicken, I actually flattened them so that I can cook them through, and so here are the breasts here that are a little bit flat. And I press those dry ingredients into that chicken breast. And then I'll get the other one. And then I'll put it in the hot skillet and I cook it all the way through. So once it's cooked, then I set it aside and then I make my sauce. And I have a medium onion chopped and ready to go, 6 cloves of garlic that are already chopped, and I use large ones because it keeps the devil away. I always say if you eat a lot of garlic. I put a cup actually of coconut milk, full fat, 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese that's grated, salt, oregano, basil into the sauce. But let's just leave that and let that cook for right now.
A few minutes later.
I also have boiling right now water because this chicken actually will be served on spaghetti. So I mix a half a box, thereabouts, of spaghetti in boiling salted water and let it go. By the way, I've made this before and I have to say it's very, very good, this recipe. And it's also very easy. There we go. So that's going to boil away and the chicken's cooking away. And then we're getting ready to make our sauce. But I have to have the chicken has to be cooked all the way through. And then we set it aside and then we make the sauce in the skillet. Hence, Skillet Tuscan chicken.
A few minutes later.
You may be wondering why I'm cooking a recipe and selling real estate, but there is a mission here. If you are interested in these calendars that I mail out every year, call me at 534-9932. I'd be very happy to chat with you about any interest you may have in buying or selling. The market right now is extremely buoyant. Lots of buyers are looking to upgrade, downgrade, or purchase to rent. The rental market is extremely active at this time. And if you're interested, I'd be happy to get your address, chat with you, and mail you a calendar so you can have these recipes at your fingertips. I'm a cook. My mother taught me how to cook. And in fact, I was her sous chef. So I started chopping when I was about 10, chopping onions, chopping God knows what, chopping parsley, and so I've watched my mother cook for a very long time. Okay, so this chicken is almost cooked now, and almost ready to take it and set it aside. And then we'll start making the sauce. Turn it several times and make sure that it's really, really cooked through. It's quite imperative for chicken to be not raw or even slightly raw. You'll find these skillets, these cast iron pans are probably the best things to cook in. Skillets to cook in. I love them. My son gave me this one. Okay, so I'm gonna just turn this down here and take the chicken out and rest it on the plate. So we're getting ready to make the sauce. So we get 2 tablespoons of butter and melt that. So we melt the butter in the skillet. I'm going to turn it down a little bit because it's a bit too hot. You gotta watch out for these skillets, they get very hot. So you have to tone them down. So I then get 1 medium onion that I have chopped, and it's all ready to go. And I keep cooking that so that it's glossy and clear. Oh, I keep hitting that. I feel like Julia Childs right now hitting the fan. What a character she was. Let's get some garlic in here. 6 cloves, big cloves. And you stir that away. And keep stirring it for a couple of minutes, actually. And you gotta be careful when you cook garlic, because if you cook it too fast, you burn it. So I'm gonna leave that for a second, and I'm gonna grab the spaghetti. I'm just gonna drain that. Oh, one second. So, we're getting ready to pour in. The recipe asks for 3/4 of a cup of full-fat coconut milk. I give it just a little bit more because I just think it needs a little more mixture, liquid. So you pour that one in, the coconut milk, into your sauce. So we're starting to make this sauce. It's easy. So we stir that around. Get that all blended in with the onion and the garlic. And then we are going to put 1/4 cup of grated fresh Parmesan cheese. Italiano. There we go. Let's stir that all in. And then we'll use 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm just going to use my hand because I know what the measurements are. And some pepper. Pepper and salt, just add it all up. Then we start with some Italian herbs. We'll put 1/2 teaspoon of oregano, 1/2 teaspoon of thyme, and a teaspoon of basil. So, teaspoon of basil, 1/2 teaspoon of thyme, that's about 1/2 teaspoon, and then 1/2 teaspoon of oregano. That's about 1/2 teaspoon. Stir it all up. Blend it nicely. See, can you see that sauce? It's looking good. It really is. I think really what makes this unique, I mean, obviously all the seasonings make it unique, but the coconut milk is particularly unique, I think, and gives it a wonderful flavor. So, then you put 3/4 of a cup of dried sun-dried tomatoes, and you drain off the oil so there's not so much oil going in. So this is measured out as 3/4 of a cup. And you blend that in as well. Okay. And you blend it all in, stir it all in. I'm going to just turn it up a little splash because I'm going to get ready for the 3/4 of a cup of roughly chopped spinach. And pitch that in. There we go. And again, let that stir up and blend it in and cook down. You have to cook this one down a little bit. So once the spinach is cooked down and blended into the sauce, then we get a platter and we put the spaghetti on the platter and we put the chicken in this sauce, get it warmed up. So here's the spaghetti, ready for the sauce and ready for the chicken. So the spinach is not quite cooked yet. It's got to be blended in. You can see the sun-dried tomatoes, which again is a nice flavor. The combination of sun-dried tomatoes and coconut milk, all this garlic, all the onion, it's just delish. It lends itself to being a perfect meal. The chicken in the sauce right now, so you can have a good look at that. We're going to get it all together. Got some juices from the chicken which we'll put in. Waste not, want not. And it all adds to the flavor. So this is pretty much done. I just need to get this chicken on top of the spaghetti. And then I'm going to get the sauce and I'm going to cover it all over the chicken and the spaghetti. So I'm going to just put some green parsley on top of that just to make it look pretty. So voila, this is it.
Lovely.
Skillet Tuscan chicken, made by yours truly, Fiona Hatfield.